Hello, my name's John. This is a hobby half hour, and you're watching War Games, Models, and Other Hobbies. Hello, and welcome to the video. This is the first hobby half hour video that I've done. I'm going to just jump straight into it, chat about the format and things like that while I start making a few things. In today's video, I'm going to be making Deathwatch Terminators. So I will leave timestamps in the description so you can jump to specific parts, but let's just jump straight in. So you may have seen the video of, well, there's 3 videos of me making a Deathwatch Terminator captain, and since doing that I've decided I want to make a whole squad of Terminators. So I've got the Terminators from the Leviathan box set. I've already trimmed off bits of their feet and things so they're not standing on rocks, because I want to put them on the same style bases as that captain. So to start with, what I want to do is make a conversion of Garen Brandatar, I think that's the name of the guy, the Terminator from Kill Team Cassius. Really nice Salamander Terminator, this one. And what I'm going to use, I'm not going to touch the body because I'm going to use that for a later conversion, I think. But I'm going to use the Heavy Flamer, the Chain Fist, which is a Melter Fist, and a few of the other details. I am going to need to chop this arm off to make it work, but I'll keep the whole body intact apart from that. I'm going to use the Terminator body that is for the assault cannon, just because it's in a nice pose for that heavy weapon operative. So I'm going to cut the bits off the sprue that I need, and then we'll start making. Now, I've been thinking for a while on doing a different format video on the channel. To all intents and purposes, it's pretty much the same as the videos I produce already. It's going to be real time, so the only time things will either break or be edited is if there's a knock at the door, I've got to answer the phone or do anything else in general. But it's going to just be half an hour of me doing hobby. So it might be painting, it might be making, it might be converting. I'm not sure. It depends where the video takes me. If you've got any suggestions of videos you'd like to see in hobby half hour, please drop it in the comments and I'll do my best to incorporate that into a video, and we'll see where it goes from there. So I've trimmed those bits off. I'm now going to trim this part of the body off and have a look at how I can trim that arm off without damaging too many parts. Put that to one side. So you'll see here on the body we've got the shoulder and lower arm, which that then slots onto. So I'm thinking I might cut it off with a saw, which I think I've got one nearby. Let me have a quick look. Yes, I do. I have a hacksaw. I don't know if the blade's going to be too wide for this, so let me have a little look. No, I'm not going to use the hacksaw. I am going to be careful and use my scalpel. And if you've seen previous videos in the last month, you'll see that I did manage to injure myself with a scalpel, so I'm going to be careful with this one. But it should, with some careful passes, he says, knocking it slightly, and I've just snapped the blade off in there. Brilliant. That's okay, so that's not gone to a fantastic start. Let me just carefully... Okay, so that was one of the edits that I'll normally do if something goes wrong. Snap the blade while I was doing that. So I've put a fresh blade on, and I'm going to carefully work it along here. I'm not going to be able to use the saw, and I don't have anything else to cut it with, so I'm just going to be careful as I do this. I mean, it's far easier than it used to be when we had metal models. Now if I cut down there, that's going to be a lot easier. Now the thing is, I'm trying not to damage the Terminator body as a whole. If I wasn't needing the body, I'd just trim a lot of it off. But I do want to save as much as possible. So I want to be as careful as I can. Let's have a look. It's getting somewhere. It's getting somewhere. Start doing a little bit from the back. So while I concentrate on this, let's talk about this squad in general. So I'm looking to have each member of the squad as its Deathwatch from a different chapter. And I've got a few ideas, but right now I'm going to go back to thinking this. I'm going to trim this off and then trim it. So this body, I will repair it when I do a conversion, but to be honest, I don't want to spend the whole half hour trying to cut an arm out. So there we go. And now I'm going to trim this nice and easily. So ideally I should be wearing a safety squint for this. There we go. That was so much easier. So let me just tidy that up carefully. There we go. Okay, so now I have that right arm. So let me get some glue. Let's move a little bit closer as well. Haven't decided which base this one's going to go on yet. Let me do that now actually. I think because there's going to be more interest in the weapon of this guy, I'm going to put more of a generic base on it. So I think I'll use that base when it comes down to it. What I need to do is trim off the stalks on the arms and then flatten them off like that. Now I have to say, I think Terminators are probably one of my favourite Space Marine units. They always have been since first edition Space Hulk, and I am glad they kept them in the game and then upped their scale to be in line with the Primaris scale. They're my favourite kind of, like I said, they're my favourite model, they're my favourite unit. These ones are just going to be a standard Stormbolter special weapon fielding unit. I do like the close combat Terminators, and I am looking forward to hopefully soon them releasing an updated kit for that. So this flamethrower is going to go like that, I think. I think I'm going to use the original Terminator head for this one, so I'm not going to use the one from the kit, just because of the difficulty of taking that off. What I want to do though is see if I can use the fuel tanks for this one. I've got loads of mould lines and things I'm going to have to remove at some point from this, but I'm thinking that should fit okay. Might need to do a little bit of converting on it, but that's okay. Let's get this arm glued in place. Okay. And hopefully the glue will give me a little bit of time just to kind of play around with where I want the fuel tank to be. So I can move the arm slightly while it's going. But let's have a look at when this fits in. It's designed to fit on the little back section of the belt. And that looks like that's going to fit in, but I might have to move it back slightly. Might need to, yeah, okay. I'm going to remove that briefly before the glue sets. Put some glue into there. Some glue around there. So, the new video format, while I'm gluing this, let's talk about that. I like doing my real-time videos, and I know I don't get lots of views on all of them, but I think having a bit of consistency with these real-time videos will help a lot with what people expect to see and so on. So that's why I've decided to go for the hobby half hour. So in that half hour, it is just spent real time doing hobby. Right now, you might be doing your own hobby. You might be having your tea, having something to eat, just chilling out, watching this video. It's entirely up to you how you engage with it. And one thing I would say, I would like people to engage with it. I would like people to put in comments and make suggestions of other videos that I can do. As although this is my hobby, oops, it's your hobby as well. And as always, I'm impatient with the glue. I might need to use a little bit more of something to hold it in place. There we go, okay. Just putting it there, that has got it in the right place. Sorry if that's out of focus there, guys. Right, let's just tap a bit of glue into the seam there and there. So there is that Salamander, Flamer and the Prometheum backpack. Let's just pop that, let's lie that down for a little bit. So let's glue this to the base. So I can let it go. So I'm going to put some glue on the feet. Turn this over. And then just put that down like that. There we go. Okay, while that's drying, let's sort this arm out. So, mould lines are something that I try and do early on, but when I'm doing a video, I do end up doing them a little bit later on as well, so I kind of sit back and tidy up the models after a video. Otherwise, all you'd see in these real-time videos is mould lines being removed, because it does take time. The benefit with this model as well, it has the Deathwatch shoulder pad already. For the rest of the squad, I'm going to have to cut things up and kind of try and join them together. Okay, that's in place. Okay. So this one, yeah, we'll put it to one side so it looks like the flamer's spewing out flames. I might have to trim that actually. Yep. I'm going to have to trim that slightly to get it flat enough for the arm. There we go. It's the one thing about the old scale Terminators to the newer scale Terminators. The bits fit and transfer across. I did a video ages ago about making a Deathwing Terminator squad from the push fit Terminators, and most of the bits do fit, but you do have to do some trimming. Okay, there is that flamer and that fist on there. Now, just need to check which head I need for the instructions. So I need number 48, which it's not going to, there we go. So I need that one just there. So I'm only going to push fit the head in place in case I decide to change it later on. But we'll see how this one looks when it's all in place. There we go. So there is that Salamander Terminator conversion for my Deathwatch Terminator kill team. Now, I will leave photos of these at the end of the video, but for now let's start another conversion, and this one is going to be just nice and easy. So I've got one of the Terminator parts here, and what this one's going to have, although there aren't apothecaries in Terminator squads, this is either the Grey Knight or the Deathwing apothecary arm. I think it's the Grey Knight one, and I'm going to use that on this one, and it's going to be a stand-in for either a chain fist or I could just leave it as a power fist, but I just want something slightly different in this squad to kind of just show the uniqueness of how the Deathwatch might work. So this one's a nice and easy one. I do have a different head to put on this one, so I will take off the stalk. There we go. And that head should, yeah, fit in nicely there. Now I'm thinking for this one, rather than it being a specific chapter, it's going to be I think it's the Black Shields, so it's going to have lost its chapter. And I think the backstory behind it, why it's an apothecary rather than a normal Terminator, is maybe it either lost contact with its chapter, or something happened to some Marines under this apothecary's stewardship or something. I don't know. Some interesting backstory. If you've got any ideas, drop it in the comments, because it's always nice to have backstory for models. And I think somewhere I've got some chain or details that I could put on the shoulder pad to show the nature of this black shield. Right, while that dries, I'm gonna grab, let's go for this one. Gonna grab that base so I can make sure they're stuck down. I am really impatient when it comes to the glue, but there we go. So I do have a Deathwatch shoulder pad for this one, so I'll be able to stick that straight on the shoulder of this Terminator. There we go. And then head-wise, let's just put that in there. Okay, so there we have, nice and easy that one, a Deathwatch Black Shield Terminator Apothecary to add to the squad. Right, and I think we're going to have time to do one more. So, let's go for the Walking Terminator. And this one's going to be pretty much out of the box, except for the shoulder pads. And I think this one, we're going to go for a Blood Angel. So I've got the Blood Angel shoulder pad. I'm going to need another Deathwatch shoulder pad. So let's put that down there. And the gun for this one, I'm going to need parts 16 and 15, which are just here and here. So let's get those while I'm at it. I might not use the Power Fist. I might use a different one. I'll have a look what I've got in my bits box next to me. But what I do have to do straight away, because I want to put the Blood Angel shoulder pad on this, I need to trim all of this off. So let's clear things out of the way. Let's get my snips and let's start trimming this pad off. So let's do the tally of this video while I do this. We've had some full arm swaps with the Salamander. We've then had an arm swap and a head swap with the Apothecary. And now with the Blood Angel, we're going for some shoulder pad swaps. So now I've got that off quite roughly, I'm going to carefully, with my scalpel, just trim that back nicely. Now I would say with this new format of video, if there's any suggestions you have, I know I've already said any suggestions for videos, but for filming, if you want the camera in a different position, all that kind of stuff, please drop it in the comments. I can't change things unless I know from others if they need changing. So that's the Blood Angel shoulder pad's going to go on there. That's perfect. Let's trim that. Right, so let's get this arm in place. And I can push that bit on. And now with all the push fit things for this squad, I'm not actually going to glue them in place for now. I'm just going to push fit them. So if I do need to take things off for painting, or I do change my mind, which I frequently do, I'll be able to do that without a problem. So let's get that Blood Angel shoulder pad in place. Now what I'm probably going to have to do is run some glue along the seam like that and just hold it for a little bit, because this is an older Blood Angel shoulder pad and they are slightly smaller than the new ones you can get on the Primaris upgrade sprue. So it will want to shift a little bit, but there we go, that's okay. And head wise, I want number 17. There it is. Let's just have a look at 13, which is that shoulder pad. I reckon, no, I can trim that off. So I'm going to go for Power Fist with this guy, and I will do another shoulder pad replacement. Let's get that head in place. And what I will do, let's go for that one. let's glue this down while I do the power fist. Okay, let's get that power fist. So I'm looking for 13. And part 14 there. And I think I'm somewhere around 25 minutes now for this video. So, although it's a half hour, it might go above or below slightly, it doesn't really matter. Right, let's trim off. So what I will do, I'm going to save that purity seal first, because you never know when one of those is going to come in useful. And then let's trim off this shoulder pad. Ooh, maybe a little bit too much there, but that's okay. That was definitely a safety squint moment. There we go. Now let's cut that down nice and smooth. Now I realised in this video while I'm doing this, I might be racing a little bit. Maybe because I feel like there is a time limit on this video. But as I do more of these, I think I'll get used to the timings. So we'll work it out. This is an experiment after all, so we'll see how it goes. Right, I'm going to push that into position first, then glue the shoulder on. And it's quite rough how I've trimmed that, but it's going to get hidden by this shoulder pad straight away. That's okay. Let's run some glue down there. Yeah. And run some glue there. I want to get that. That needs to move around slightly. It needs to be there like that. There we go. Okay. Right, there is the third little Deathwatch Terminator conversion, the Blood Angel. So we've got 3 of these guys done now. Coming up to the end of the half hour as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this new format video. Please give me a bit of time to kind of hone it, get the quality a little bit better, that kind of thing. But for now, like I said, I'll leave some pictures of these at the end of the video. And thank you so much for tuning into this new video format. If you've got any suggestions for future ones, like I've said, drop it down in the comments. But for now, my name's John. Thanks for tuning in, and you've been watching War Games, Models, and Other Hobbies.